Welcome to Search for Signs. My name is Gary Willing. If this information interests you, please press the like and subscribe button and press the bell for notifications. Over the course of the next few videos, I want to talk about some of these masters individually. Now, there's a few dozen masters that deal with humanity directly, and I use that word quite literally, deal with, because I'm sure are pretty hard to take. Now, thankfully, all these masters, without exception, know nothing but love and have infinite patience, know who we are as divine potential and so forth. So that's why they do what they do. They're not getting frustrated, I'm sure. But all these masters, without exception, work tirelessly moment to moment. So it's not possible to go through their entire day with what they do. We can touch on it a little bit, some more than others. And I want to start off with this particular master, the Master Rakoczi, or the Master R, for two reasons. One, he's the most intriguing that I think, when I think of the masters, he's the one that I always find the most intriguing. And two, he was actually, besides Jesus, was the first master that I had heard about. And I heard about him before actually I knew anything about the masters. I used to love the TV show In Search Of, that was hosted by Leonard Nimoy from Star Trek, you know, the one that played Spock. And he narrated this program, and they talked about everything from Bigfoot to what happened to Amelia Earhart. But this one episode I caught on one Saturday, I just remember I found so fascinating. But it was about this master's previous incarnation as St Germain. And St Germain, if you Googled the words Masters of Wisdom, the Master St Germain probably comes up at the top, because a lot of groups make claims that they're receiving all sorts of information from St Germain. Now, I don't buy it, but I'm not here to tell you what to believe, so you believe whatever you want to believe. But that was one of this master's previous incarnations. And most of these masters, not all of them, have had an incarnation or two that they were well-known figures of the time, because they were impacting society on some level. And this master is no exception. So his previous incarnation as Saint Germain was the episode that I caught of In Search Of. And he was kind of a mysterious figure. He kind of came out of nowhere. Most people didn't even know where he came from. And he kind of found his way into the intelligentsia of the time, and was invited to the courts and the castles from the kings and the queens of Eastern Europe. And I remember watching this video and about him, or this episode of In Search Of about him. And as people were indulging in alcohol and engorging themselves on food and meat and stuff like this, Saint Germain didn't eat anything, or hardly anything at all. And how people were always taken back by that. And then he lived for a time out openly, amongst the upper class of Eastern Europe, and then just kind of vanished. And that was the whole episode of In Search Of, was like, what happened to him, I personally think that was when he became a master, and he went up into the Carpathian Mountains and started his work as a master. And he's been working as a master ever since. Now, he's more of an administrative type of master. He doesn't take on disciples the way that, let's say, the Master Jesus does. And according to the masters, he's more of they view him as more of a general manager of the hierarchy than, let's say, a teacher per se. Now, prior to being Saint Germain, he had two very well-known incarnations too, which you can look up in Wikipedia if you want to do some more research on it. One was Francis Bacon, who was a contemporary of Shakespeare. And there's some conspiracy theorists that think that he was the one that wrote all of Shakespeare's plays and poems and stuff, because Shakespeare wasn't educated like he was. So he is the likely suspect. Now, I don't agree with that. Shakespeare was very advanced, but he was a philosopher and a writer. And then prior to that incarnation, he was Roger Bacon, who was a distant relative of Francis Bacon. And this master will be working, I think, more with governments than with the people per se, but we probably will know who he is. Look for a master who's pretty short with a black pointy beard, and you might, if you see him in a crowd of masters, that's that's who the Master Rakoczi is. So, or maybe not who he is, but what he looks like per se. So, and as always, take action. Help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos. Have a great day.